Hey, what's up everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you with another video. All right. So, man, I feel pretty exhausted. I ain't gonna lie, I feel lethargic. Body ain't moving like it needs to, but I don't care because I'm still pushing it. That's really what it is. I did my little walk the hill thing in Hollywood. Found at the bottom of the escalator at Target a wrapped up and still warmed hot dog. Y'all know I don't eat that stuff. So what I was able to do is just I found a random homeless person and just left it by him as he was sleeping. And hopefully he'll wake up and be able to eat that. And it'll be good for him, hopefully. I can't eat anything with any bread in it because bread has milk in it and I'm highly lactose intolerant. So I already had that in mind. Anytime literally anything is in front of me, I just assume that I'm allergic to it, no matter what it is. Yeah, can't have garlic, can't have milk, can't have a lot of other types of seasoning. So that eliminates like pretty much everything, literally everything. And so I just assume when I see food, I can't eat it. And I just give it to somebody else without even looking at the ingredients now at this point. It's just not, it's not very helpful for me at this point to even toy with my stomach. I tried that several times leading up to this day, and it's hurt me every single time. So I'm done experimenting with eating out or, you know, finding random food. No, not anymore. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say, man. I'm very thankful that the Lord put me in a position to do that. I know you're not supposed to be telling people that you do stuff like that, but that was a highlight of my day, being able to find something like that and leave it for somebody else. Adding to my workout, you know, continuing on my process. I added to just about every one of my my exercise routines this morning. Everything that I do in the morning, I just added one to it. And so it just felt like it was natural to do that, given the fact I was so exhausted. You work against that exhaustion by putting forth more effort. You know, that's what I tell myself. Like, because I'm so tired, I'm not interested in doing less. I want to force myself to do more. It's almost like I'm mad at my body for being exhausted, you know. And so that's really exactly how I approached it. Got through it and knew I couldn't stay in the house because I had some things to purchase. So I went out, purchased those things, and did my little, you know, hill walking routine, and now I'm walking back home. And majority of my content today has been about the NBA draft, different prospects, because that's what I've been focusing on over the last day and a half. Actually, yesterday morning, I told myself, look, I was feeling like this yesterday, and I'm like, I don't really need to go anywhere. I didn't need to purchase anything. Let me focus on the homework that needs to be done. Get a handful of these players' homework done. Just, you know, just learn what I need to learn so I can be more up on what this draft class looks like. And so I spent a lot of my day yesterday watching highlights of basketball players, man. Just enjoying one of my passions in life. Listening to content about basketball, these playoffs and stuff like that. I didn't even react to these playoff games, but that's something I also wanted to do as well with this day. So, you know what I mean? I just haven't had time to really do a therapy session because I've been so thrown into my to my homework and ultimately on the content of doing that, to reporting on what it is I've done homework on. So, yeah, I feel pretty good, man. I feel really good about just overall continuing to work on the craft, all of the crafts that I do, and this is one of my favorite times of the year. And so, yeah, man, that's really what I wanted to say about that. Just giving y'all a little update on what I'm up to. Like I said, I'm really tired, man. I don't know what that is. Probably just wear and tear. I've been doing more push-ups, getting myself back into the mode of my push-up routine after taking so much time off of it, a good month, where I wasn't doing nearly as many reps. I'm back to doing as many reps, and I think that's what's dragging me at this point. I think I did probably about 8 or 9 sets of 178 yesterday, which is the number we're at currently. So yeah, I think that's what's draining me, honestly. It's just you add that to everything else that you're doing, and it really does drain the body until you get used to it. And so, yeah, man, trying to get used to it again. And I feel like I'm there as it pertains to getting used to each and every set. But just adding a bunch of sets on top of one another, that takes a whole lot out of me. And so that's what I think is going on with me. I don't think I'm particularly wearing down. I think if anything, I'm just working on the conditioning of myself. And so, yeah, man, it's good for me. It's good for me. At 41 years of age, I'm going to be in August. You want to continue to work on your body. You want to bless your conditioning and bless your eating habits. so that you can look young, feel young, and just get in better shape. That's what it is. Last year was a bad year for me in that regard. A lot of eating out, a lot of taking the bus down Lancashire instead of walking. And I wanted to eliminate that this year, and I think I've done a very good job of that. Building strength, trying to take the fat off that I built last year, being lazy and being lax with my eating. And so that's what we're doing, man. This is the opposite of last year. This is more like the year before that. And I look forward to what comes of it, but you have days like this where you just wiped out. And so I'm cool with that, continuing to work either way. But yeah, man, that's really what it is, man. I thought that was pretty interesting to see that the president pardoned Larry Hoover today. I don't know if that was a very credible source that I read, but I read that somewhere. And I thought that was positive for my community. I don't really trust the president, though. I've seen other areas of life where he doesn't give much of a crap about us, but like I always see from him, he's always throwing a bone at the black folks, you know. He's always doing something like that. He did that near the end of his term last time he was president. He freed some rappers or something like that. I don't know. He did something that made black people say, see, he ain't all that bad. But like, I understand that these politicians, they don't really have friends. They have leverage, and they have people who have them by the balls with leverage against them, and that's how they operate. Now, I understand that, you know, he is got a specific base that is very pro-white. Not just as it pertains to, oh, we're pleased with ourselves, but like really white supremacist base. And so he tends to pander to them a lot. And then with his left hand, he throws a bone at black people. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of that going on, and I'm just not confused by it. And even more so underneath the whole thing is AIPAC, of whom we talk about all the time, which is like the grandiose secret amongst the common American. They don't really understand that their government is truly by the balls in regards to Israel and these people. It's like most people don't know this, which is really frustrating, I guess. When you look at people, when they start talking about politics and what matters to them, they start talking about, you know, racism. And racism is a huge problem, don't get it twisted. Like the whole MAGA thing and how it relates to the empowerment of the racist mindset. Yeah, that's a real thing. I get it, but that's not the depth of the conversation. The depth of the conversation is who's pulling the strings behind these people. Why are they trying to pander to the racists? Why are they trying to pander to the blacks? Why are they trying to pander to the LGBTQ community at times? Why do they choose to do the things that they do? It's because they are controlled by a certain entity that wants to maneuver the world in a certain way. And that is what I understand. That's the deeper conversation. The racist conversation is a surface level conversation. The true conversation is, why are all of our government officials paid by a foreign entity? Why are they more interested in a lot of cases to assure that anti-Semitism, which is really holding them accountable, that's code for don't hold us accountable for the evil we do. That ain't even got nothing to do with hatred anymore. They have effectively drowned that word into seemingly nothingness. Zionists have. They've taken that word and they've made a mockery of it. And essentially, they don't want to be held accountable for none of this evil stuff they're doing in the Middle East. They don't want to be held accountable for none of those racist ideologies that they ultimately live and die by. And so anytime you try to hold them accountable, or anytime you try to cry out for them or for accountability for their actions against Palestinian people, suddenly that's anti-Semitism. And it's starting to get ridiculous, to be honest with you. When you hear people talk about, oh, anti-Semitic troughs, all these blood libels. What they really are saying is, don't you dare hold us accountable for slaughtering and terrorizing and murdering Palestinian people. That's all that means. Do not hold me accountable for murdering Palestinian children. That's what they're saying. That's what anti-Semitism means. The new definition of anti-Semitism is holding them accountable for the slaughtering and the terrorizing of the Palestinian people. Anything that does that is offensive to them. But I'm telling you the truth. I have no problem with being considered anti-Semite in 2025 if that's what the definition is. And then furthermore, I will say that these people ain't Semites at all. And you look at our politicians, you say, that's who's paying them. That's who has the most leverage over our politicians at this point. Those people. Ironically enough, and so as we talk about this for the 896th time, I just sit here and say, man, Donald Trump pardoning Larry Hoover does nothing at all for absolving him for his part in all of that. Nothing. He's still doing a bunch of evil, racist stuff in the name of Israel, just like the most of these politicians are doing. And that is exactly what the real underlining conversation should be in every American household. That's what it should be. Well, I guess we got to wait till that word spreads, apparently, amongst all these people who are still in the dark. Still thinking with their own identity on the forefront of their sleeves. People only care about their own identity, which is the essence of what keeps us as a nuisance to the conflicts that we pay for, to the genocide that we pay for. We are a nuisance to that genocide because we only give a damn about what is pointed at our own people each and every time. I look up, I'm hearing somebody say, well, it didn't mean to us, or y'all don't care about us, or this is about us. As long as you divide it on some surface level, me first, everybody else come after, everyone's other except for me crap, you are always going to be a nuisance to people who really need you to be focused on what they got going on. And that is something that we're so distant in regards to in this country. And this is why I try to use my voice each and every opportunity I get, and use my platforms each and every opportunity I get to display something other than that. I really want to display something other than that, man. I don't want to live in a world where the only thing I care about is what looks like me, or what acts like me, or what talks like me, or what from my culture, or whatever type of me, our nonsense. It ain't the hour for that. It's time for us to get our head out of our own backside and start caring about something that ain't got nothing to do with us. And until America comes around to being that type of people, we're going to always be in the dark about what our tax dollars are paying for, in the dark about the horrors that are caused by our indifference and our othering, so to speak. Tired of it, man. Even as a person who's a part of a community that's proud, who's had a lot pointed at us, who was tired of people treating us a certain way, this, that, and the third, I now find myself looking at stuff that is pointed at only me as selfish. It's selfishness, man. It's elitism pointed in my direction. Only if it ain't focused on us, it ain't focused on nothing. If it ain't about black, I ain't interested. They're only interested in black people problems. Like, that's the essence of what white supremacy is all about. They only interested in white people problems. They only interested in stuff that exalts them and furthermore absolves them from whatever people are trying to hold them accountable for. That's what Zionism's about. They only care about them. They want their own state. They're thinking about inconveniencing everybody else for their own interest. I'm sick of that in my lifetime. I'm sick of it. I don't want nobody's community to be only about them anymore. I'm turned off by all of that, man. Oh, it's about us. We want to inconvenience everybody else so that we could be comfortable because we've been treated so poorly, because we've been discarded of, because we are the victims. Because I'm like, yo, when you start looking at what the Zionists are doing, and then you look back at your own people and you look at other communities and they're doing that same shit, then it becomes a situation where it's like, damn it, this is what they need us to do. This is what they need us to do. This is what they are about. This is what the poison of the world is all about. Is everybody being focused on their own thing, tribalism, victim identification, and furthermore mentality, whether justified or not. It just becomes a situation of, yo, if you're only serious about helping yourself and your people, then you are a nuisance in this world. because the essence of that energy is being pointed at an entire people that is wiping them entirely out. The essence of that spirit that embodies that bullshit is literally wiping out an entire race of people, slaughtering their children because of that same mentality, because of that same energy. It's just trash. It's not constructive at all anymore. It's irresponsible. It's low frequency at this point, if I'm being honest with you. Now, far be it from me to say, okay, all lives matter, isn't okay, discarding of the individuals, groups, because everybody is supposed to be equal. It would be lovely if we could work toward that being something that is in existence without so much trauma attached to it. But so much generational trauma is being attached to my people. So much generational trauma is now being attached to the Palestinian people. So much generational trauma is being attached to the Indian people, Native American people specifically, and so many other different people, Spanish-speaking individuals. So much trauma has been pointed at so many different communities, African people. So it's okay for us to feel very confident that we'll have a moment from which to express our frustrations and celebrate one another. I'm not saying do away with tribalism entirely based on just the sheer nature of what healing can come from, saying, yeah, this happened to us and we're stronger for it, and yeah, this happened to us, we ain't gonna let it happen again. I'm all right with all of that, even as it pertains to the Jewish people and what happened in the Holocaust. It's okay to stand up and say never gonna happen to us again. But if you're gonna let it happen to somebody else and you cool with it as long as it don't happen to you again, then you're part of the problem, if not the source of the problem. Let's make sure it don't happen to nobody again. If I'm gonna come together with my community, if we only come together to feed our community and we're gonna let everybody else starve, then we the essence of Zionism. That's what Zionism about. That's what they about. If somebody kill one of yours, you want to kill 1,000 of theirs, and you're gonna starve their people out in the name of yourself and your exhaustion, you a Zionist. You're the essence of what's wrong with the world. You're mocking the oppressor. And as I always say, if you're oppressed, the last thing you need to be doing is mocking the oppressor or mimicking the oppressor. You ain't need to be doing nothing he doing. Because you might as well celebrate your own suffering if that's what you're going to do. Because you're definitely reinforcing it with other people. And so, if anything, not only am I physically tired, ladies and gentlemen, but I think this is one of them days where I'm emotionally tired too, and drained by just the selfishness of the world around me. Selfishness and low frequency, as I like to call it. Shallow nature of individuals. Shallow. And it seems like it's just getting worse and worse. The internet is continuing to teach people how to be shallow, man. I want to free this. I want a free ride. I want the most ridiculous energy around me because it's so much fun. Like, that type of energy is just, it's counterproductive. And at this point, I understand the root behind it. It's the intention to reinforce people being self-destructive so that they're not holding people accountable for being selfish. And furthermore, reinforcing selfishness in their own lives is to not be offended by it when they see someone else do it on a higher, more ridiculous scale. And so I would love for the world to evolve in my lifetime, but I see so much ignorance, so much long-term self-destructive culture worship and degrading, culture worship, embarrassment culture worship within my own community and several others as well. Till I just get to a point where I'm like, I'm tired of people, man. Like literally, bro. I'm tired of, not everybody, of course, but like the people around me in America. I'm tired of y'all, man. Y'all so damn selfish and so self-centered, so shallow. It just gets to a point where you're wearing people down, man. Those of us who care, the few of us who actually care about what's going on, who will sacrifice our whatever we need to ensure that people get what they need, to ensure that people are heard or whatever, get tired of the shallow nature of human beings in this Western world, man. Don't care nothing about nothing unless it involves them. They don't see children unless those children are of similar skin. You just get to a point where it's like, yo, can y'all die out so that a new generation of people who care can live and lead us into the future? Because that's what I'm hoping for at this point. I'm tired of y'all, like the selfish people, the ones who want to reinforce the worst things. It's like It's over for that. We don't want to see any more of that. I want the new generation to take over and let them lead us into the future where we're cognizant of other people's sufferings and what we can do to heal them of their suffering if at all possible. If you don't care about that, it's time for you to go. If you're only interested in your own people, it's time for you to go. If you don't care what happens to nobody else as long as you get your buck, I'm seriously tired of you. You gotta go. There's no more room for you. We're too awakened to the understanding that is the same energy that's killing the Palestinian people for us to support your existence anymore, if I'm being completely honest with y'all. I'm over every single person who has that energy in them, man. All of them. I'm over all of them. And that's a good, most of people, to be honest with you, around. That's the unfortunate nature of all of this. You know, so I'm just asking for the Lord for instruction on how to deal with the fatigue and just the otherwise emotional frustration of watching so much indifference lead so much of what's going on around me, while I'm now awakened to the understanding of how toxic and how harmful that is. When I was in the dark, it's just like the movie The Matrix. When I didn't know any better, I wasn't awakened to this, it didn't bother me at all. I was reinforcing it with my own energy. But once you wake up, once you take that right color pill and you see what's on the other side of this, man, it takes a special kind of selfish to want to jump back into the matrix for your own comfort. You know what I mean? And I'm just not wired like that. I don't want to jump back into it. I'm irritated by it. I want people to wake the hell up. I want people to stop being afraid of speaking up. I want people to stop being so selfish and self-centered and not questioning that self-centered nature. You know, othering and all different types of energy that we engage in. I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, yo, y'all gotta go, man. If that's what y'all on, you're not helpful to the world anymore. You're not helpful. You probably never were, but at this point, I'm aware of how unhelpful you are. So that's what I want to say to all the people, elitists, selfish people, I think they better than everybody else, godless people who don't have no interest in anything but what makes them feel better, what makes them wealthy. Tired individuals who just want an easy life as it pertains to find me the richest person so I can lay up with them and spend their money, and if they ain't got it, they ain't nothing. Believe me when I tell you, you are a nuisance. If that's your mentality, if that's what you were raised with, if you think money is the most important thing in the world and you don't care about human beings, you are an absolute nuisance at this point. You are taking up space, you're taking up air, you're eating up food, you're a waste of space. So that's what I want to say to people, man. I'm sorry if this is going to offend some people. Like I said, waking up will bring you here. Once you become awakened to the things that I've seen over the last 600 days, and you start putting it all together, the way that I'm starting to allow to be like the second nature of how I think, the less you feel patient with people who reinforce more of the indifference and the selfishness and all this stuff that makes America what it is. I'm like, yo, enough, man. Enough. Bdf 44, I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.